Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Uh, I just thought I'd talk about some things here. There's a lot of things I've been thinking about lately. Yesterday, I received in the mail this magazine, Muscle Cars. This is a sister publication to Canadian Hot Rods, and on the cover is a local car. I was kind of excited to see this. It's a 104 70 Hemi Roadrunner convertible. And it's got a really neat story inside. Of course, a very rare car. There's a seven-page article on this thing, and what is really cool is the story behind this car. Uh, this car was found in Saskatchewan, and it was in a Quonset for 20 years, and finally found and restored. And the current owner has done a ton of research on the history of this car. Of course, unfortunately the original Hemi engine went missing some point in its life, and he had done a lot of research to try and find that engine. And of course, he found this interesting story, this human connection to this car that was really interesting, and that got me thinking about my own car, my '68 Chevelle. And I've made no bones about this. This car is not a true numbers matching 138 SS car. This is a clone or a tribute, whatever you want to call it. This thing was a 307 2-speed power glide, your basic Malibu sport coupe, and yeah, it's a clone, and this doesn't bother me in any way. I guess what I'm getting at is there's basically two things in my mind that make a car real interesting, and first and foremost is the extremely rare cars. Unfortunately, not all of us are lucky enough to own a Hemi car, original Hemi car, or a 138 car, a true SS car, or your drag pack car, and that sort of thing. So I've never really been to. No one's ever thumbed their nose at me for owning a clone or a tribute, and this car is special to me in its own way. And what I'm getting at is the human connection, the personal stories that you make with these cars. Uh, that that connection is as interesting and important as the rare cars are, or the numbers matching unusual strict production, the stuff that those, and not to take away anything from those extremely rare, unusual, hard to find cars. I'm not to take away from anything on those. They have their own prominence. They will always be higher value car in the car world. They will always have that. But the other interesting thing is these all cars, regardless of what kind of car you have, they all have that you make your own history, you make your own stories with these things, and that in itself makes for a very interesting car. So regardless of what you have, don't it's yours. A true hot rodder is a guy just making his car his own. And that's what it's all about. That's what the hobby's all about. Not all of it. Unfortunately, there's not enough Hemi cars and true SS cars and drag pack cars out there for all of us in the hobby to own. But these things are what we make them, and it's a lot of fun. And don't be discouraged if you're new to the hobby and you're wanting to get into the classic cars, the muscle cars, the hot rods, whatever your taste or flavor is. You're going to run into a lot of pitfalls and challenges, a lot of frustrations, finding parts, sourcing out parts, making parts fit, these are all challenges that you're going to run across. And I've assembled enough of these things to know that every single one has their unique challenges, and you're going to get frustrated, and things are going to, you know, it's just part of the deal. But don't be discouraged. Don't let it hang up your hobby. Don't let it frustrate you. Just keep going. Keep wrenching on it. This time of year, it's if you live in Canada like me, this is the time to get your car in the garage. Winter's around the corner. Stuff it in there and start wrenching on it. As you can see, I got 3 cars stuffed into a 2-car garage here. So yeah, if you don't have a garage, rent a garage. I did that for many years. Built a lot of cars that way. But yeah, just get on it. Just get on it. Hopefully we don't go into another lockdown, but if we do, well, you got something to do, right? Yeah, the hobby, it's a great thing. There's nothing more satisfying, more personally satisfying than working on your own car. If you feel like you're, unfortunately, if you're the guy that has to pay everybody to, you know, assemble a car, and I feel badly for you. You're missing out on a lot of neat stuff. The personal satisfaction and the feeling you get from working on your own stuff. As an example, this car right here. This car consumed my life for about 5 years. This was an absolute piece of shit when I brought it home. It was full of holes. There was no drivetrain, no interior, no glass. I hauled that car home one day, and I think I bought it for $1,700. And my neighbor helped me push it into the driveway, and he laughed and he said, "What the hell are you going to do with this thing?" And I said, "Well, I'll play with it for a while and see what I can do with it." And I had a vision for it, and it took me 5 years to build this car. I actually borrowed a welder from a friend. I didn't even own a welder at the time. Borrowed a welder from a friend and taught myself how to weld. I had very little experience with a welder, and this thing needed absolutely everything. The floors, the trunk, the fenders, the doors, absolutely everything was full of holes. And I had to source out almost all the parts for this car, but it took me a long time. It was 5 years. I worked on it almost every day. If I wasn't wrenching on it or cutting and welding, I was sourcing out parts on the internet. So that's another thing. The internet is full of information, valuable information. It's a good resource. Take full advantage of that. When I got into the hobby, there was no internet. Basically I read every book I could, talked to a lot of people in the car community, and most of them will steer you in the right direction. If you're working on a car, you're new to the hobby, talk to guys in your community that are in the hobby, in the car community. They'll steer you, and someone's going to steer you in the right direction and help you out. So yeah, whatever it is you're working on, regardless if it's a rare car or not, you're going to make your own memories with that thing. And a big part of the fun of the whole thing is working on it yourself, doing your own thing, building your own car your own way. So don't get too caught up in the rarity of things. Although those are great cars, and if you own one, good on you, because they're valuable, and they're few and far between. But they are out there. Just 4 doors down from me. If you haven't seen my earlier video of Calvin's '67 Chevelle, that's a one-of-one car. And he didn't realize that when he bought it, but he did a lot of legwork, and he found out a lot of interesting information on that car, as well as his '62 Chrysler. That one's a 1-of-7 car. A real neat interesting story. The video is about 30 minutes long, so if you haven't seen it, watch that video. It is interesting. But yeah, I just wanted to, I was just thinking about, you know, rare cars and interesting cars and what makes a car interesting, and I thought I'd share that with you guys. And like I say, if you're new to the hobby, get in the garage and start wrenching. You know, keep the thing alive. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and I hope maybe I really hope I've inspired somebody to get their project in the garage and get going on it. There's nothing more satisfying than that, and it's really good therapy. Thanks very much.